Starting from scratch with only a worn mower and a dream, Alex's journey to building a successful landscaping business takes an unexpected turn when Rachel, a client, offers more than just business. She offers belief. Will this unlikely partnership become a turning point in Alex's life? Hi everyone, I'm Jessica, the storyteller on the Adult Women's Tales channel. Here, I'll share stories about love, conflicts, betrayal, and infidelity within families. These stories offer a deep look into relationships and the challenges families face. Stay tuned and explore with me. If you love emotional stories and want to uncover the hidden secrets in families, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our videos. Let's jump right into the narrative. Hi there, I'm Alex. At 24 years old, I reside in a quaint town near Columbus, Ohio. I've always enjoyed using my hands in my work. While many of my friends pursued college or entered the workforce, I dedicated 5 years to saving every dollar and immersing myself in the world of landscaping. What I aspire to achieve? I aim to establish my own lawn care and landscaping business. And at last, a few months back, I accomplished it. It's not extravagant at this point. I own an aged white Ford van that shakes when I turn it on, a refurbished second-hand mower I repaired on my own, several trimmers, and the most affordable leaf blower available. However, they are effective. That's everything I required to begin. I decided to call my business Green Line Yard Services and even took the initiative to print some flyers on my own. Initially, my clientele consisted solely of family members and a few neighbors. I was not generating any income. Not quite. I mostly did it without charge or for whatever they were able to offer. I realized it was essential to establish a reputation. I reminded myself to approach every task as if it were worth $1 million. That's the way to stand out. One afternoon, I found myself at my small desk at home, sorting through my tools and pondering whether I would ever land a genuine client. My phone vibrated. I received a call from a number that was unfamiliar to me. "Greetings," a gentle yet assured voice responded. "Hello, my neighbor passed along your number to me. I need someone to maintain my lawn. Is your schedule open?" I sat up straight. "Indeed, without a doubt. I can swing by tomorrow if that suits you." She provided me with her address. After I ended the call, I found myself gazing at the phone for a moment. That was the end. My initial genuine employment experience. The following morning, I loaded my gear into the van. My heart raced as I arrived at the house. The property was expansive and impeccably cared for, situated in one of the most desirable neighborhoods in the area, refined yet understated. A location where each blade of grass needed to be flawless. Stepping out of the van, I inhaled deeply and told myself to focus on the task at hand, maintain a professional demeanor. I pressed the doorbell. Moments later, she swung the door open. That initial encounter is etched in my memory. She appeared to be in her early 40s. She was tall and poised, dressed casually yet in a manner that conveyed her taste and likely affluence. Her dark hair was neatly pulled back, adorned with simple earrings, and she wore no makeup aside from a touch of light lipstick. "Hi, I'm Rachel," she said, beaming. "It seems you are Alex." "Absolutely, ma'am. I appreciate you reaching out to me." "You don't have to call me ma'am," she chuckled softly. "Only Rachel." She guided me through the property, highlighting the spots she wanted tidied up and mowed. She explained that the previous guy simply stopped coming around. "I appreciate order and cleanliness," I acknowledged, making mental notes. "I'll ensure it appears more stunning than ever before." I immediately got to work. The day was scorching, and I could sense sweat streaming down my back in no time. My mower had a bit of a rough start, but it ultimately completed the task. I carefully trimmed, edged, and ensured that every line was flawless. I went ahead and tended to some weeds along the path, even though she didn't ask me to. At one moment, I glanced up and noticed her on the porch, observing me. I gave a clumsy wave and continued on my way. About an hour later, while I was wrapping up the final strip of grass by the side yard, she approached me. I switched off the mower and used my sleeve to wipe the sweat from my forehead. "That looks incredible," she remarked, gazing at the freshly trimmed lawn. "Your attention to detail is truly commendable. Thanks a lot." I approach each yard as if it were my own. With a mischievous grin, she tilted her head and uttered the words that are forever etched in my memory. "Proceed with caution. I form connections with diligent individuals." I laughed softly, slightly taken aback, uncertain whether she was being playful or sincere. "I'll remember that." She beamed with warmth. "I'll make the payment via your website, but I'll surely be reaching out to you again shortly." I gathered my tools, said my farewells, and drove off with a sense of emotion I hadn't experienced in ages, wishing for a brighter tomorrow. Perhaps, just perhaps, this venture might actually succeed. 3 days passed. I stayed occupied, taking on various tasks for acquaintances of acquaintances, trimming hedges, edging driveways, and even pulling weeds by hand when necessary. I was still hustling, still seeking any opportunities that came my way. Each evening, I would glance at my phone, yearning for an inquiry, yet there was silence. I make an effort to stay positive. I continually told myself, this is only the beginning. On Thursday morning, my phone started ringing. It was indeed her, Rachel. I paused, gazing at the screen for a moment before responding. "Greetings." "Hello, Alex." "Hey, it's Rachel. I trust this isn't an inconvenient moment for you." "Absolutely not." "How can I assist you today?" I responded, making an effort to maintain a calm tone. "Could you possibly come by again? The front hedges and bushes are becoming a bit unruly. It appears that no one manages to trim them just the way they should be. I truly appreciate the way you take care of the lawn. Can you lend me a hand?" "Absolutely. This afternoon works for me if that's good for you." "Absolutely flawless." I ended the call, gazing at the phone once more. This was not merely a singular task. A client came back to me, an excellent choice. I tossed my tools into the back of the van and made my way over. As I drove into her driveway, I couldn't help but admire how flawless everything appeared, except for the hedges. I picked up my trimmers and got to work right away. The hedges stood thick and towering, evidently overlooked for weeks prior to my most recent visit. I aimed to make an impression on her once more, not solely for financial gain, but because I was establishing my reputation. After approximately 40 minutes of concentrated trimming, I caught sight of Rachel nearby, arms casually crossed, observing my efforts. She wore casual workout clothes, her hair tied back, exuding an effortlessly stylish vibe. "You truly pay attention to detail," she remarked as I took a step back to assess my lines. "Every little detail matters in this business," I emphasized. She beamed. Not everyone shares that perspective. I continued to chat a bit while I worked. The conversation flowed effortlessly, touching on the neighborhood and even sharing thoughts on the previous landscaper's shortcomings. However, I couldn't help but observe how at ease she appeared while conversing with me. I maintained my concentration on the task at hand, carefully trimming and shaping each bush to perfection. Upon completing the final hedge, she approached, a satisfied expression on her face. "Alex, you've pulled it off once more. They exceed my expectations." I beamed, truly satisfied with what I had accomplished. "Thanks, Rachel. It's great to hear that you're pleased with it." Then, unexpectedly, she paused for a moment before saying, "I know it's last minute, but I ended up making too much food for dinner. Are you interested in staying for a meal? Simply as a gesture of gratitude. It must be tough working in this heat. You must be really hungry." I blinked, taken by surprise. Clients rarely extended an invitation for me to come in. Uncertain of my words, I found comfort in her warm, reassuring gaze, as if it were the most instinctive thing imaginable. "I would be happy to, but I don't want to overstep," I responded with courtesy. She dismissed it with a wave. "It's merely a meal. Seriously, just relax for a change." The way she expressed it had a calming effect on me. I agreed with a nod. "Thank you very much." I stowed my gear and stepped in after her. Her home was equally stunning on the inside as it was on the outside. Stylish, contemporary, yet inviting, featuring expansive windows that bathed the spaces in gentle, natural illumination. Rachel guided me into the kitchen, where the table was perfectly arranged for two. She had made grilled chicken, roasted vegetables, and fresh bread. The aroma was simply amazing. We gathered around and enjoyed our meal. The dialogue unfolded more smoothly than I anticipated. She inquired about my business, how it all began, and what my aspirations were. I shared with her my reality, that I was just managing to get by, still relying on borrowed equipment, and dreaming of the day when I could have a full team and a proper truck adorned with my company logo. "You've got determination," she said with a gentle smile. "Many individuals in your age group do not." I shrugged, feeling a bit sheepish. "I'm simply working on creating something for my own benefit." Following dinner, she uncorked a bottle of wine and poured me a glass. I graciously turned down the offer, explaining that I needed to drive home. She nodded in acknowledgement. Few would have declined. We lingered for a bit more, simply chatting. It felt unusual, yet it wasn't unsettling. There was a relaxed atmosphere, a surprising comfort shared between two individuals from distinctly different backgrounds. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I rose and expressed my gratitude for the meal. "Thanks, Rachel, for all things." She guided me to the entrance. "I stand by what I expressed earlier. I'll likely discover a couple more items around here for you to mend shortly," she playfully remarked. I let out a laugh. I was eager for it. As I drove home that night, the surreal nature of the day kept replaying in my mind. I was uncertain of its significance, if there was any at all, yet I couldn't dismiss the sense that my life might be on the brink of unexpected transformations. The next week flew by with a flurry of minor tasks and extended hours. Thanks to Rachel's recommendation, I managed to secure a few additional clients in the neighborhood. News spreads quickly in these circles, and individuals appreciate my meticulousness. I appreciated it, yet the effort was draining. Then arrived Friday afternoon. I was finishing a hedge trimming task when my phone vibrated. It was indeed her. "Hi, Alex. Do you have some time available tomorrow?" I brushed the sweat from my brow and grinned. I believe I have the potential to be, "Hey there. My backyard could use some improvement. The garden appears untamed, and I trust you'll transform it beautifully." I accepted immediately. Rachel had turned into my highest paying and most devoted client. I wouldn't be truthful if I claimed I wasn't excited about the prospect of working at her place. Her home exuded a sense of tranquility, her vibe. The following morning, I packed my tools into the van and set off. As I drove into her driveway, I saw her on the front steps, waving and smiling. She sported a pair of casual jeans paired with a snug white shirt, clean, refined, always effortlessly graceful. "Good morning, Alex." She welcomed me. "Good morning, Rachel. Where would you like me to begin?" We strolled together to the backyard. The area was spacious and thoughtfully crafted, yet it evidently required some attention. Shrubs were sprawling uncontrollably. Flowers were intertwined, and weeds had taken over the stone pathways. She acknowledged that it was quite overwhelming. "Feel free to go at your own pace. I'm here if you require any assistance. I have to get some work done." The sun blazed overhead, unyielding in its intensity. Perspiration dripped down my spine as I meticulously trimmed, pulled, raked, and sculpted everything into place. I spent hours immersed in my work, completely losing track of time. From time to time, I noticed Rachel observing me from the kitchen window or coming out with a glass of iced tea to hand to me. I initially turned her down, concentrating on completing the task, but ultimately relented when she persisted. "Come on, Alex," she urged. passing me the chilled glass. Even the most dedicated individuals deserve some time off. I lingered on the back steps for a moment, enjoying my cold drink while gazing at the incomplete garden. Rachel took a seat beside me. "You're truly committed to this," she remarked gently. I gave a nod. "My name is on the business. I desire to be remembered for my positive contributions." She grinned at that. "Indeed, that's exactly what you're accomplishing." I returned to work and completed the task by early evening. The change was unmistakable. The hedges looked immaculate, the flowers were tidy, and the weeds had vanished. The backyard appeared entirely transformed. Rachel stepped outside and let out a joyful gasp. "Alex, it's stunning. You've truly surpassed expectations." "Thanks," I replied, wiping the dirt off my gloves. Then arrived the surprising instant. She took a moment, a hint of uncertainty in her voice, then added, "You know, it's a bit unconventional, but would you care to join me for dinner? It's only me, and I've prepared an excessive amount of food. Think of it as a little gesture of appreciation." I paused, taken by surprise once more, just as I had been previously. This wasn't typical client behavior, yet there was something in her tone, the relaxed familiarity, that made it feel effortless. "Absolutely." After a brief pause, I responded, "Thanks a lot." I gathered my tools and stepped inside after her. Her home took on a new character in the evening light. Cozy, welcoming, serene. Gentle melodies flowed from a speaker in the living room. The aroma of roasted chicken and vegetables wafted through the air. We gathered once more at the kitchen table. The discussion resumed right from where we had paused previously. I shared with her the story of my early years, my choice to launch my own venture, and the challenges of managing a business with limited funds. Rachel paid close attention, occasionally nodding and posing insightful questions. It felt more like a conversation than an interview. It seemed like two individuals truly discovering one another. At one point, she remarked, "You know, you're incredibly brave." Many individuals would shy away from the gamble. "I'm not sure if it's courage or simply persistence," I chuckled. After we wrapped up dinner, she uncorked another bottle of wine. "I know you can't have a drink since you're driving, but I'm enjoying a glass anyway," she teased with a playful grin. I grinned. That makes sense. By the time I got up to go, it was already dark outside. I expressed my gratitude to her once more for all that she has done. As I approached the front door, she trailed behind and briefly placed her hand on my arm. I truly meant what I expressed. "You'll be hearing from me again," she said gently. I nodded, feeling uncertain about how to respond. My heart raced a bit, though the reason eluded me. "Sweet dreams, Rachel. Sleep well, Alex." I emerged into the refreshing night air, entered my van, and paused for a moment before igniting the engine. That evening had an unmistakable air of beginnings. I had no idea what was happening, but I decided not to dwell on it. I simply smiled to myself and made my way home. The upcoming weeks established a routine. I kept working on my business, accepting every opportunity that came my way. I began my days at dawn and wrapped them up after dark. However, whenever Rachel reached out, I always ensured to make time for her. It wasn't solely about the good pay. I truly found joy in the work and, to be honest, in the conversations as well. Rachel stood out from all the clients I had encountered before. She had an effortless quality about her, relaxed yet assured. Whenever I reached her home, she welcomed me with that inviting smile that made the long hours of work feel lighter. During one of those warm, late summer afternoons, she reached out once more. "Hello, Alex. I understand you have a lot on your plate, but my patio really requires a thorough power wash. The previous person I brought on board performed poorly." "I will be there tomorrow," I stated confidently. The following day, I packed my trusty rented power washer into my van and set off. The sun beat down relentlessly as I pulled the cumbersome machine over her stone patio. While I was busy, Rachel came out holding 2 chilled bottles of water. "You're going to melt out here," she teased, passing one to me. "I've experienced worse." I smiled, clearing the perspiration from my forehead. She hung around, nonchalantly observing me as I worked. Our chats remained easygoing and warm, yet I sensed a change brewing between us. Small instances, subtle glances. "You know," she remarked while leaning on the patio railing, "I've never had anyone put so much care into my yard." "Your passion for your work is evident." I nodded, remaining intent on clearing away years of grime from the stones. "I'm creating something new. Each roll is significant." She paused in silence for a moment. "It demonstrates." The patio looked completely revitalized when I was done. I gathered my equipment, feeling drained yet content. "That looks amazing," she remarked, strolling over the newly polished stones. "It's time for you to take a well-deserved pause." "How about coming in for a little while?" The way she expressed it wasn't playful. Not really. It felt laid back, yet there was a subtle tension that I couldn't overlook. I paused for just a moment. Absolutely. She invited me to sit at the kitchen counter as she poured herself a glass of wine. I grabbed a bottle of water from the fridge instead. We discussed life, work, and her past marriage from years back, while I shared that I've been single for some time now. She spoke with pure honesty, free from any bitterness. I shared with her the story of my parents' modest home, how my father had shown me the art of repairing things with my hands during my childhood, and how I envisioned the day I would purchase my own house. With a calm assurance, she remarked, "I believe you'll reach your destination." The hour was growing late. I got up to head out, but Rachel accompanied me to the door. Just as I was about to step outside, she surprised me. She started, gazing directly into my eyes. "I've been thinking." "I understand if you need time to think, but I've been contemplating the idea of investing in your business. Your passion is evident, and I have faith in your efforts." I stood still. That took me by surprise. "Rachel, that's really kind of you, but I'm not sure I can accept something like that." She offered a soft smile. "There's no need to make a decision at this moment. Consider this. I'm eager to assist." I paused for a moment, feeling utterly disoriented. I had never received that level of support from anyone before. I nodded with deliberation. "I'll consider it." "Thanks a lot, Rachel." "Absolutely," she replied gently. "Sleep well, Alex. Sleep well." I made my way back to my van, thoughts swirling in my head. A part of me felt an instant urge to decline. I created this company all by myself, after all. Yet, a different part of me understood that this could alter everything. The latest gear, an upgraded van, the capacity to tackle larger projects. I made my way home quietly, the burden of the proposal pressing down on me. I realized I required some time for reflection. The upcoming days proved to be among the toughest challenges I encountered since launching my business. I hardly got any sleep. My thoughts were racing through all the options. On one side, I had put in the effort for everything I owned. I felt a sense of pride in having built my company from the ground up, even though it remains small and faces challenges. Conversely, Rachel's proposal was genuine, and it had the potential to transform everything in an instant. By Wednesday, it became clear that I needed to have a conversation with her. I reached out to see if I could swing by. "Absolutely," she replied with a smile. "I'll be at home throughout the afternoon." I got there later that day, pulling my van into the usual spot I always used. I approached the door, a sense of anxiety washing over me like never before. Rachel swung the door open and beamed. "Hi, Alex." "Hello, Rachel." She guided me into the kitchen, where we took a seat at the table. The atmosphere was laid back, yet I could see that she picked up on my uncertainty. "I've been reflecting on your words, and I just wanted to express my gratitude once more. No one has ever shown me that kind of belief before, not even close to family." She gave a silent nod. "I have decided to accept your offer," I continued. "Only in the case of a loan. I won't accept a handout. I will repay every cent along with additional interest." Rachel beamed, her gaze gentle and warm. "I appreciate that. I anticipated nothing but this from you." We clasped hands over the table. That moment seemed to signal a change, neither purely romantic nor strictly business, but rather a blend of both, a shared comprehension and regard. The upcoming weeks became a whirlwind of events. Rachel sent me the money, and I promptly put it into a new work van featuring my company logo applied by professionals. I enhanced my tools and acquired higher quality equipment, enabling me to tackle bigger and more lucrative projects. I brought on my first part-time employee. The business soared beyond my wildest expectations. As the season wrapped up, I had established a reliable roster of clients and was fully booked weeks ahead. We're a sensation that spreads quickly. I had transformed from a mere child with a worn-out mower. I owned a legitimate business. Rachel continued to be my client, and from time to time, we would relax on her back patio after I completed a job, enjoying iced tea, discussing life, and observing the sunset over her meticulously maintained yard. I honored my commitment and started making monthly repayments to her. She never mentioned the money, never hurried me, never even alluded to it. However, I was adamant.
We maintained a cordial yet professional relationship. There were no romantic gestures, no ambiguous boundaries, no conflict. We both recognized that what we shared was special and didn't require any complexity. By the end of that year, my company had expanded beyond my wildest dreams. I reached my limit and decided it was time to search for my own house. One day, while I was gathering my equipment from Rachel's property for what felt like the final time, she approached me. "You've truly accomplished something remarkable, Alex," she exclaimed with a sense of pride. "I couldn't have achieved this without your support," I confessed. She beamed. "A solution would have been discovered by you. I just provided you with a gentle nudge." I let out a laugh. "You provided me with the most incredible motivation I could have ever hoped for." We exchanged a final handshake. "I'll still ring you up from my yard," she joked. "I wouldn't want it any different."
As I drove away that day, I realized this chapter of my life had come to a flawless conclusion. I created something genuine, something enduring. The child with the old lawnmower had transformed into a well-regarded entrepreneur. What about Rachel? She was the one who unexpectedly entered my life and inspired me to have faith in myself when I needed it the most. Not every tale requires a climactic conclusion. Some simply require the perfect individual at the perfect moment. This belonged to me. That's it for today's story. If you found it moving, don't forget to share the video with your friends and family. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.